that. What I just wanted to do in a very, very brief few moments is chat with these dear friends. They come from 4 different parts of this province, very different church contexts. And as much as I indicated that the family covenant piece has sometimes been shaking the family mobile, overall, my conversations with our churches around this has been exceptionally positive and just a real delight. And so I've got 4 of our pastors, leaders. I'm going to quickly get you, Doug, you can start just to introduce yourselves. Oh yeah, I guess that would be helpful. Why don't we give the other one too? Introduce yourselves and where you're from and maybe how long you've been. Oh, sorry, that's not on. This one's tricky. There you go.
It's always good to get the tricky ones, isn't it?
There you go.
So my name is Doug Valerio. I pastor the church at Manatik, which is in the south of Ottawa. And it might be surprising for some people to learn that I haven't always lived here.
Good morning, my name is Rafika, and I am co-pastor at Beta Community Church, which is located in Mississauga.
My name's Tamil, and I am one of the associate pastors at Evergreen Heights, which is in Simcoe. Probably not the Simcoe you're thinking, Norfolk County, Simcoe. Yeah.
I'm Ryan.
I get to push that one for you too.
I'm Ryan Yancey, lead pastor with Kingsfield Zurich Mennonite Church. And I guess I've been kicking around for a few years now, but officially part of the MB tribe for maybe 13 hours or so.
That's right. Fantastic. Now, it was a little bit different in each of the contexts when I had the privilege of dialoguing with either yourself or some of your leadership teams. I'll start with you, Ryan. We'll come in the other direction. But just give me a bit of a feel of how that went and how that was received in your context, specifically around the family covenant.
Yeah, so as we've been kind of processing this whole affiliation transition the last couple of years, this was a really helpful piece for us in terms of just kind of getting a glimpse of what would be expected of us to be a part of this family, and also what we could expect from the leaders and other churches as well. And that's not just, we're not just signing a paper or joining formally, but we're actually entering into a family, and this is what it looks like. So it was super helpful. It's not, for us, it's not like we have to make a major shift of how we into a newer way of operating. It was actually as we step in and figure out what this looks like, we're kind of starting from square one. So it was actually a really helpful piece of our discernment over the last 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, it was kind of timely actually, because it was brand new. We were just getting to know each other and that sort of thing. There was no long-term historical kind of connection. And it just created a great space for us to talk about what it could be to be a part of this family. Great. Tamil, I remember a bit of a raucous night in your church with your leaders. You just remember that?
Yes, it was very exciting. Yeah, it was a really positive meeting that we had together. We had a good representation of both our deacons and our elders there at the meeting. And it was just, I think the best word for it was energizing to our leadership team to come together to look at a document that's really defining the culture and the vision for who we want to be as a broader community of churches. And there was just a lot of alignment with it. To come together to see, like, the first thing there is, we hold the banner of Jesus above everything else, and you could see them kind of light up. And as we went along, it's just so much that really resonated with our team. And so it was just a great opportunity to connect them with the bigger, broader denominational family.
That's great. Thanks. Yeah. Rafika, your experience was a bit different than the rest. Can you let us in on a little bit what transpired?
Well, we had a lot of young people, and we had our leadership council members as well. So it was great to see that dynamic, because our church is unique. We are basically people from India or Pakistan, and so to come into a family covenant is something very important for us as leaders. And I know we had a conversation about covenant 2 years back, you and I and Michelle, because our church was going through a process in regards to family covenant in our own context. And so it was interesting because we were also going through that in our own church, and then the conference was talking about that as well. So our leadership were very welcoming. The youth and the young people were very much excited because they felt that they were part of something bigger, as you mentioned. And moving forward, we have something to keep us accountable and to continue to invite us in this family, and we feel accepted. Even though we have a different language, we have a different ethnicity and culture, but it's such a great feeling to belong. So, and I think that's, some of the youth are here actually right now.
Yeah.
So they were there on that day, and yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah, I found it was kind of a unique moment. And one of the things I also was able to do in almost all of the context was travel with another one or two of our board members. And so in that particular case, I had somebody along, Mike was there, and he took off on all kinds of his own testimony and sharing and stuff, and it was just really a remarkable kind of night. It was more than even just talking about the covenant, it was a real opportunity to engage with the church in a really family pastoral kind of way. I found that really, really cool. Doug?
Thanks. So our context is we're a reasonably new church. We're a pretty eclectic bunch. We've got a lot of different people from a lot of different church backgrounds, a lot of different denominational backgrounds.
Is there anybody with any kind of ethnic background?
Ethnic, as in ethnic MB?
That's right.
No.
I didn't think so.
So we are completely un-NB, if that's even a word. But anyway, so that was quite, that's one part of the puzzle. The other is there was a lot of members of our church have come out of two church splits. So I guess the confidence in any kind of denominational, sort of oversight was at an all-time low, and many of the members of the church that were there, that when I became the pastor, were really hurting, from that. So when we started to have a look at sort of, what family are we going to belong to, we started engaging in that conversation because new pastor as well. I come from Pentecostal background over in Australia, so sort of joining in with the MBs as this is a new family. And so we've been taking steps towards sort of the MB because we were a church plant. Darren Millie's here in the room somewhere. He was our planting pastor. Many of you will know him. And so we've been taking those steps towards sort of joining the MB family. So when we started talking about the covenant, it actually gave us a concrete document where we could actually begin those dialogues in real terms, rather than sort of a touchy-feely kind of, they seem like quite nice people. I mean, there's nobody too scary sitting out here. It actually gave us something that we could work with. And many of the points on that document, we would all go, we can go along, we can do this. There's a few that kind of caused a couple of ripples, but by and large it was great. And so all the steps that we've taken so far have all been very, very positive. So
that's a good segue into the question of, were there any challenges that you would see that kind of emerge that we need to be aware of even as we move forward? And I'll just go to each of you on that.
You want to start with me?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought your mobile illustration was really good because when you yanked on the one that got yanked moved the most, and there was some that moved just a little. And I think, many of the things that have been experienced by people here, particularly for those who've been long-term MB people, a lot of these changes and a lot of the shake-ups have really rocked some people. But those ones that have rocked the people to the core the most were probably the ones that had the smallest ripple in our lives. Because we're a new church, we don't have the historical connections. So a lot of those issues didn't cause us too much of a problem. The one that caused us, I think, from our context, was the holistic gospel presence. What attracted us initially to start leaning into the MB family was this idea of lowering the denominational flag and raising the flag of Christ. And that was something that resonated with us because, as I've already said, we had people come out of a lot of splits. So the idea that we're going to really focus on Christ and the mission was really important to us. And we thought that as a posture from a denomination was an incredibly brave one. because I personally come out of denominations which have been very rah, 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 and very strong. So that was a really interesting and very humble posture for a church. So it was attractive to us as a congregation. And so when the family covenant first came out and the first wordings came out, it seemed as though we were actually re-raising that flag. And that caused us some concern because that was our biggest issue, really. And I've noticed that in the latest version, what it actually says is it's reworded it in a way that we can really fully get behind, and that's that Christ is the highest banner, which allows us also to strengthen the denominational ties, which are absolutely necessary. And I think that the way that you're leading us as an Ontario convention is really good and positive, and that we actually do need to strengthen those, but have Christ as the highest banner, which allows us also to raise a denominational banner as well. So thank you for that too.
Great. Yeah, we're at about we're now settled at about version 18 or something like that. So there's been a lot of fine tuning for sure. Any thoughts in terms of some of the challenges, Rafika? Or was it all just positive up and to the right?
It was quite positive, actually. But yeah, I mean, again, because of the context of where our church is at, we do find challenges within our church, like congregation. But yeah, it's good to have the covenant because it's there and it's tangible and it's there to go back to all the time. And as we move forward with teaching the congregation members these concepts, I mean, they don't have the Western mentality, first of all. So it's very chaotic and it's very all over the place back in those Eastern countries. So to have something to go back to, like I said, the covenant, is a very important piece for us. And it's a blessing.
One of the things that I noticed in this particular conversation was it actually created a space where we could come alongside and actually endorse and support the pastor couple, Vishal and Rafika, and it allowed us to say certain things to the rest of the community there that they maybe sometimes would struggle to say. And so that was kind of cool, just to realize, oh, that was like a whole unexpected blessing of this opportunity, and we tried to leverage that in a good kind of way. So I think that was really neat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the content of the actual document, there really wasn't a lot of things that stood out as challenging or that there was pushback against. I think, as with all conversations around vision and culture setting, the challenge is how do we really live this out, right? And all relationships take time and intentionality, and it's one thing to string together some beautiful words on a piece of paper, but it's just moving forward and actually seeing this take place within our church family and within our denominational family where I think the challenge comes, but it's a worthwhile challenge. So,
Thanks.
Yeah, for us also, in terms of content, there was nothing that tripped us up or we struggled with. But maybe to echo what Tamil just said, I think the biggest challenge for us is going to be living into this now. As a church, we become accustomed to being isolated and drawing from a whole hodgepodge of different resourcing and connections. And so we're an hour and a half away from the nearest MB church. We don't have like biological relational connections. Like this is all new. And so it's going to take a lot of intentionality to step in and discerning where do we step in, where do we honor the other relationships we have with the broader Christian world. So that'll I think be the biggest challenge, just to slowly but intentionally live into it.
Well, thanks. We could carry on with a variety of things, but I think I'm going to call it there. But just to highlight a couple things. The whole intent of the family covenant is a way to try to draw us closer together. And it's not perfect. It's not panacea by any stretch. It's a tool. In some contexts, I know wording around, let's say, the word covenant has been an issue. In other contexts, wording or nuance and different. We've tried to incorporate here, listen to all of those different pieces and work with that. I would just want to say it's a working document. It's not, in one sense, complete ever. We're going to continue to use it to hopefully leverage our growing stronger together. The other thing that we did, just because every church is in a different season of processing, different governance patterns and stuff like that. Originally, sort of our board's hope dream was that we were going to have like this big high five celebratory, come to the table, everybody's throwing down their family covenant, we're all in kind of celebration today. And we realized as we got closer, actually that's not realistic. We're all in slightly different journeys on this, and that's okay. And so if in your context we need to have further dialogue, we're open to doing that. If you're willing to already sign off and say, yep, we want to be a part of this as best we understand this right now, that's fantastic. Our hope would be that by June of this year, by the end of June, that we would know and we could hear from you, yes, this really makes sense, or actually we got some serious reservations, that type of thing. So we want to give space. This isn't to be in any ways kind of controlling or just making it difficult for us. We hope that it can be a helpful process, and I think it has been certainly in each of your contexts. It's been a delight. It was one of the real delights for me, actually, traveling around the province and dialoguing with our churches. So we just wanted to open up that piece for all of you, and I hope that's been helpful. So thanks. Why don't you give a bit of a round of applause for this team.